10 years ago, Tim Story brought us the first big screen adaptation of the Fantastic Four. Unfortunately, it was not well received and left fans hungry for a better sequel. 2 years later, Rise of the Silver Surfer came out, and unfortunately once again let down fans. Now, with a new director, new cast, and an altered origin story, the Fantastic Four are upon us once again. The question is, did Josh Trank properly chronicle their story? Fantastic Four. In my opinion, it's not very good. The story follows Reed Richards, Ben Grimm, Sue Storm, and Johnny Storm as they work together to bridge the gap between Earth and another dimension. When they make a breakthrough, they get cocky and find their bodies altered in shocking ways. But rather than run from them, they learn to harness their powers and use them to stop a former colleague from destroying the world so he can live and thrive in the alternate dimension. For Josh Trank, Fantastic Four marks his second feature film, and the first one he's done with a studio. Having seen both this and Chronicle, I think his career has potential. It just may not lie within the studio system. And that is unfortunate because the emotional and creative transition from indie to big budget filmmaking is meant to be exciting and inspiring. But the reality is not every talented filmmaker is meant to be in the studio system, and that's okay. That's actually not a bad thing. While there are a lot of things that very obviously do not work in this movie, a couple of items did save this from being a total train wreck for me personally. One of them is the pacing. Compared to Avengers 2, this movie is tight and does not drag on. Another element is the reactions to the powers. There's a scene ways into the film where the characters wake up in their rooms. They're like locked in these separate rooms in this secure building. It's like Area 50 something, and they are coming to grips with their powers for the first time. Compared to the 2005 version, it's a much more frightening and emotional setting for the characters, and especially given their age, I got emotional seeing them in that state. They are confused and terrified, and being observed while strapped to a chair doesn't help. My notes for improvement fall under the casting, the acting, the writing, the villain, the visual effects, and the action. In any action film, the action should be at the very least fun, but when done right, action is sexy. In this movie, the action plays out like a lackluster video game, and for me, the flow of the fight scenes brought to mind those button mashing combos that are really annoying and never leave you quite as satisfied as you would like to be. Insult to injury is added by the visual effects. Sue's invisibility and Johnny's flames actually look pretty good, but Reed's invisibility and Ben's rock body, in my opinion, do not look very convincing. As for the villain, I am a little annoyed that Dr. Doom was chosen to be the opponent. He was also in the '05 version, and really neither version made him out to be the best villain ever. Like, I personally find him to be very boring and flat as a character. Maybe that's just how they wrote him, but he's not very interesting to me, so I'm confused as to why out of 3 Fantastic Four films, he's in 2 of them. And neither one worked, so what does that tell you? I'm just thinking, have someone else in that villain role, because that way it keeps things fresh and interesting, and he's not very interesting. Now, let's talk casting. There are 2 people in particular, Jamie Bell and Michael Jordan. I have seen both actors in other films, and they are wonderful actors, really good at what they do. But for this movie, neither of them feels like the right choice given the personality they are supposed to inhabit. Like, Jordan isn't cocky so much as he is impatient in this film, and Jamie Bell just really feels just completely out of place. And that actually leads me to the performances, which, save for a few scenes, lack any interest or passion. And that, unfortunately, applies to everyone in this movie. Well, almost everyone. The one exception is Reg E. Cathey, who is also in one of my favorite shows, House of Cards. The man can not only make ribs, he also knows how to deliver a cheesy-ass speech. And that leads me to the writing. The writing is blah. It has no pop or zest. Blockbuster films have a reputation for employing dialogue that is fast, ironic, witty, suggestive, and empowering. None of that is here. Also, within the writing are the characters. No character or relationship ever gets fleshed out. And I fear in the long run, this franchise may not get fleshed out. But if it does, here are my 2 cents. Make Brad Bird the writer and director of the sequel, because the Fantastic Four are on a basic level The Incredibles. Brad Bird knows superpowers, teamwork, family drama, action, and big budget filmmaking. Yes, Tomorrowland was a flop. Unfortunate, but it happens. With all that said, I give the 2015 version of Fantastic Four 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Have an awesome day.